He's the only pitcher in baseball history to win a World Series game in 3 different decades. He snagged 3 Cy Young awards, threw a no-hitter, and, get this, never once gave up a grand slam in his entire 19-year career. But for Jim Palmer, the road to Cooperstown wasn't some victory lap. It was a journey through a complicated childhood, a career-threatening injury that almost ended it all, and a legendary feud with his own manager. This is the story of how an adopted kid from New York became the cool-headed ace of the powerhouse Baltimore Orioles. Jim Palmer's story starts in New York City, where he was adopted just 2 days after his birth in 1945. Raised in a wealthy home, his world was turned upside down when his adoptive father passed away. His family moved to California, where his mother remarried, and he took the last name of his stepfather, Max Palmer. In high school, he was a monster athlete in 3 sports, so good at basketball that he reportedly got scholarship offers, with one even said to be from the legendary UCLA. But his heart was always in baseball. In 1965, at just 19 years old, he broke into the big leagues with the Baltimore Orioles. A year later, he was a key piece of their starting rotation. In the 1966 World Series, Palmer found himself on the mound against the god-tier Sandy Koufax and the Dodgers. In what turned out to be Koufax's very last game, the 20-year-old Palmer pitched a complete game shutout, making him the youngest pitcher ever to do that in the Fall Classic and locking down the first championship in Orioles history. He was on top of the world. But it wasn't going to last. After that incredible high, Palmer's career slammed into a brick wall. An off-season arm injury from using a paint roller, made worse by cortisone shots, sidelined him. For most of 1967 and all of 1968, he was basically lost to injuries, bouncing around the minors and hardly pitching. His career looked so over that the Orioles left him unprotected in the expansion draft, and not a single team took a chance on him. He thought about quitting baseball for good. But Palmer had a quiet fire inside him. He threw himself into a tough fitness routine, something that wasn't really common back then, and completely rebuilt his strength. He returned to the O's in 1969, healthy and with a chip on his shoulder. And just 4 days after coming off the disabled list for a torn back muscle, he threw the only no-hitter of his career, a blazing 8-0 win over the Oakland A's. Jim Palmer was back, and his real reign of dominance was just getting started. What came next was one of the most dominant runs by a pitcher in baseball history. From 1970 to 1978, Palmer won 20 games in 8 of those 9 seasons. He was part of the iconic 1971 Orioles rotation that had 4 different 20-game winners. He wasn't just a guy who could throw hard, he was one of the smartest pitchers to ever set foot on a mound. Palmer was a strategic force, known for that smooth, high-kicking delivery and for methodically taking apart opposing lineups. That intelligent approach helped him win 3 Cy Young awards in 1973, 1975, and 1976. He also nabbed 4 straight Gold Glove awards, proving he was a complete master of his position. But as Palmer became the face of the team, his biggest fights weren't always with the batters. Often, they were with the guy in his own dugout, his manager, Earl Weaver. Palmer, the tall, cool-headed pitcher, and Weaver, the short, fiery manager, they were oil and water. Their clashes were the stuff of legend, a series of shouting matches and dugout stare-downs that became the sideshow to the Orioles' incredible success. Weaver's game plan was simple: pitching, defense, and the 3-run homer. Palmer, ever the perfectionist, would often challenge his manager's choices. They might have driven each other crazy, but it worked. Together, they won, and they won a lot. For almost 2 decades, Jim Palmer was the Baltimore Orioles. He spent his entire 19-year career with the team, a kind of loyalty you don't see much anymore, and became a true franchise icon. During his time there, the Orioles won 6 American League pennants and 7 division titles. His career came full circle in the 1983 World Series. 17 years after he won his first title as a kid, a 37-year-old Palmer came out of the bullpen in Game 3 and got the win. That victory made him the only pitcher to ever win a World Series game in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. It was the perfect final chapter for the man who had been there for every single one of the Orioles' World Series appearances. Palmer retired with 268 wins, a lifetime era of 2.86, and a trophy case full of awards. The Orioles retired his number 22 in 1985, and in 1990, he walked straight into the Hall of Fame on his first ballot. His is a story of incredible talent, sure, but it's really a story of incredible grit. He overcame a tough start in life, stared down an injury that should have ended his career, and navigated a chaotic relationship with his manager to become one of the greatest pitchers of all time. He was the living, breathing example of the Oriole way, smart, disciplined, and a relentless winner. If you loved this story, do us a favor and hit the like button and subscribe to the channel and click on the notification bell. And don't forget to click on the playlist above to watch more MLB Hall of Famers of his era. Thanks for watching.